Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We're going to be taking a look at Bisu once again, playing a PvT, going up against NoeL, aka Wiko from the ASL. I'll never shut up about that. It's just the black hole of marketing that so many Korean pro gamers fall into is insanity to me. But anyways, NoeL, I think, is one of the most creative Terrans out there. I think that you guys would agree as well. If you really think back to his games, this guy comes out with really, really interesting builds. I think I accidentally called him Noblesse in a different cast, which is a StarCraft 2 guy that actually is very similar stylistically. It's funny. But anyways, this is just, it's kind of exciting to me. I want to see what NoeL's going to do here. He's like, just to give a little rundown of some of the strats that we saw. So he played a great TVP. Was it against Rain? Several days ago on the channel, maybe a week ago or so, where he just played this magnificent TVP and then just didn't quite have enough vultures and just died to like an attack move. I mean, a very Rain-esque game, but really, really well played. Some other games that come to mind, you know, he did that really fantastic vulture drop as the mutas were arriving at his base. So well timed out, so well thought out. I believe that was against Queen in ASL a few seasons ago. And then I'm thinking back, I remember a game on Retro he played where he went multiple drop ships and really abused the map layout and how hard it is to run around in certain areas. So, like, the guy is really interesting as far as the strats that he comes out with. You know, I think there's a bit more room for coming up with that stuff when you're not at the very top of the world. You know, Bisu is a player that, well, to be fair, Bisu before this ASL season took a while off streaming and just grinded like crazy. That's part of the reason why we had so many Bisu games on the channel, is because he was probably the highest level player that was like just nonstop on ladder. So, you know, that's kind of cool, and that allows you to get some creativity in. But yeah, when you look at someone like NoeL, who isn't going to be going to be playing giant pro league matches for tons of money because he's just not popular or good enough. You know, he's going to be spending a bit more time on the ladder, a bit more time solo practice and stuff. So yeah, it feels like you can kind of explore maybe a little bit more the different strats you might want to try using. So I think that leads to some of that, because if you look at Speed too, right? That guy's pretty damn creative. He's got really his own stuff that he does. And you know, a big part of that would just be that he plays on the ladder so much. So anyways, fun to watch NoeL. Bisu here goes ahead and grabs his Nexus before the Goon, since he scouted very quickly that this was a gasless expansion from NoeL. You know, no range or anything yet either. I would expect that he goes into a Robo really quickly. That's pretty standard. And honestly, like, I think that one gate Robo Reaver third base is pretty good here, but also you could just go a very standard Goon Observer third base. Generally you want to get range with that and pressure, but he isn't really starting range, so I don't think that's in the cards. It might be more likely to be the Reaver build. Wow, solid micro there. NoeL unable to get in with the SCV, which is actually a really important block, by the way. When you go gasless expansion, if you can sneak the SCV up and see whether it's Robo or not, that's like something Protoss players have to make sure doesn't happen, because it allows this build that's already basically the greediest build that Terran has that's actually usable. You know, I'm not going to get into that discussion about how bad Command Center First is against Protoss, but this is, you know, the #1 greed build that's usable, right? And if you can see that there's a Robo, you can greed it out like 5x. The fact that you don't have to make an engineering bay and you don't have to make missile turrets, like, as soon as you see that, you're like, oh, okay, and you can go like Goliaths, and, you know, as your anti-air, you can go for a comsat scanner. You know, I guess you could still go eBay, but there's really no point. The eBay is like the catch-all solution when you don't know what they're doing. So yeah, blocking that SCV is incredibly important. Anyways, this is a 1-gate Reaver. And I don't think he's going to add the second gateway before his Nexus, but we'll see. You know, everyone kind of has their own way to play it. I think the Reaver itself should be sufficient to kind of block everything. And in fact, because he blocked that scout, it's siege mode, missile turret. You know, it is an armory build, so... And nothing wrong with that. This isn't the most common thing to see, honestly, off of a gasless expansion. Normally you go to factory just because you're getting so much income. But I think that this is actually a good way to play it as well, personally. Like, you are nailing SCVs with this. There's no hiccups in any production. You know, really, like, banking up gas and everything. So, yeah, I think it's a solid play here from NoeL. Looking back at Bisu's base, he did decide to go Observatory as well as... And that's kind of an interesting... He closes up this hole, I guess. I don't think a Vulture can go through there. I think that's why this is off-center slightly. Yeah, pretty sure. Anyways, he did end up going for the second gateway. And I think this is a nod towards the fact that this could be two factory with Vultures with, like, speed on the way and stuff like that. And it just makes you a little bit safer in that situation. You can see he's completely closed this off as he goes across the map with the Reaver. So this is, again, anti-Vulture play. He's sending the probe up with hopes of just making a Nexus. And he will be able to because, again, yeah, looking at this, nothing too crazy. Very upgrade Terran-esque, defensive. You know, Goliath range is on the way. He's got his missile turret ring. He's making Goliath and siege tank. Looks like they just paused there for 1 second. But yeah. Everything, this is all pretty standard stuff. Well, not 100% standard, though, because as I said, it's very common to see two factory follow-ups here. So he did just go for the one factory, but that's all right. Now, the Reaver comes in, and he's got a lot of siege tanks, so he can kind of just attack in. Really good targeting to get rid of the only Goliath. Very, very annoying. Siege is up. Oh, God. Oh, this is where it can get very annoying here. Drops the Goon out to eat tank shots. Going for that big Scarab. Ooh, very good one. 3 or 4 kills there. Drops the Reaver right on top of these tanks. Damn, Bisu. All right. Calm down here. This is a little bit sad because the opener for NoeL was really good, but you really have to block this Reaver drop. This is actually something I was thinking about literally yesterday. I was really thinking about this quite a bit. About how... Because I was actually talking with TT1 about this. About, like, blocking Reaver drops. Like, this is... So many games get lost here. Like, look at the difference now. He was up a couple workers, and now he's lost some mining time and, you know, lost some units. He's had to make more turrets. It's just the Reaver did so much for Bisu. If you don't block it really, really cleanly, the game becomes very hard for Terran. And you kind of know it's coming, but you don't want to overspend on turrets. It's a very fine line. But I think it's actually, like... We're going to see some development from a lot of Terran players in this regard, I think, over the next year or so, is my guess. It's just, I feel like it has to be blocked basically perfectly. And, yeah, you might remember from a different cast where I was talking about prevention versus punishment. And that's something that has to be taken into consideration. Like, the block, it can't just be prevention, right? Like, you got to have it so if they come in, they get punished, but you're not putting down so much that they just say, oh, screw that, I'll just make another Nexus. All right, so little siege up. He is pushing out a little bit. He's got the 6 factory, so it's kind of understandable. You know, it's a very fast 6 factory play. He's very low on actual workers, so it's a little bit all in here from NoeL. Looking at Bisu's side, he is adding a lot of gateways. Zealot legs are on the way. I don't think this push gets to here before Bisu's ready for it. He's slowing it really, really well with these Reavers. And yeah, I just don't foresee him getting across and getting into position, which is basically what you need to do. Now, he is going to kill the Reavers. The Reavers are gone, so we're down to just Goons, which are easy to clear. You know, maybe he does get there. He's getting pretty close, but Zealot legs are about to finish. There's not that many Vultures here. It's kind of close right now. Is Bisu going to be able to hold on? Because if you can siege here, Like, siege setup, lay a few mines, make a missile turret, you're in really good shape, but he doesn't quite have that. The speed zealots come out for Bisu now, getting on top of these siege tanks. Is this trade going to be good enough for Bisu, though? That was definitely better for NoeL. That was definitely better for NoeL. I'm actually surprised he got across that quickly. That was actually... It looked like he wasn't going to quite make it. But now that he's in this position, well, Bisu has a lot more speed zealots coming up. Oh, God, the vulture count is really dropping off. These siege tanks actually blocking the speed vultures from coming out. And... Well, this is still very, very tight. There is a round of Dragoons that are coming up and a new Reaver in this shuttle. The Reaver's going to make a huge difference against these Vultures. Okay, great pullback there from NoeL, though. Vultures come up, lay a few mines. Insane micro battle here to see who's going to be able to win this game. Because NoeL doesn't have a lot going on if Bisu ends up blocking this all the way. Oh my God, 4 hit point tank. Ah! Getting those extra hits off. More tanks come down and actually eliminate that Reaver as well. Good try on the pullback there from Bisu. Ooh, eats another big mine. Now that photon cannon going to stop the vultures from harassing. You can see Bisu's supply is starting to really run away from him. There is a new command center being made, and of course NoeL does have 1-1 upgrades, and he's kept Bisu down on these 3 bases this whole time. So is this a playable position for him? I would say the really bad thing about this, Bisu has speed shuttle already. He already has a lot of gates. He already has zealot legs. And we're only on, well, we were on 45 workers. Obviously, he's getting back into his worker production. So, like, technically, NoeL can turtle up and hold on. But Bisu already has a lot of the tools that he needs. I think you just double Nexus here. When your opponent is like, okay, I'm pulling back, making a third, just make 2 Nexuses. 1 here, 1 up here. He has sent the probe here. I don't see any reason on making sure that you hit every single round. Just stop your production for a moment. Get those Nexuses up. Because, like, NoeL just kind of has to sit. He doesn't have more upgrades on the way. There's no starport or anything. Not that I think that he should have a starport now. Like, obviously, this position doesn't really play into having a starport as of yet. The Vultures look like they're going to block this position, unfortunately, for Bisu. Shuttle coming in for a little bit of harassment as well. Oh, it was actually really, the scarabs are glitching so much. Like, I'm like, is that turret going to finish and randomly deal like 100 damage to that shuttle? No, not quite. Very close, though. Going to go ahead and remake. Looks like he is getting up into those additional upgrades. And, you know, he's getting his SCV count back up. He really needs to get mid-60s, another 10 SCVs or so. And, you know, if he gets his 2-2 going, mid-60s SCVs, blocks incoming drops, like, the game is playable for NoeL still. Looking back at Bisu's base, he does have, you know, Psy Storm on the way, and he actually has +1 armor on the way. Didn't decide really to get +2 attack. I do think +2 attack is way better than the +1 armor for this matchup. The armor upgrades, I mean, they're good. Like, it's just upgrades are good in general, but armor is not as impactful as the attack, I think. I can't think of any, like, inflection point. Is that it? There's no, like, power spike from any armor upgrades against Terran here. It's not like against Zerg where you're like, okay, this makes a noticeable difference against Mutas, the +2 armor, or, oh, the +1 attack, I 2-shot Zerglings. That type of thing, I can't think of anything like that against Terran with armor upgrades. Nor with attack upgrades, but obviously just dealing damage more quickly to those siege tanks can be very important. So Bisu is taking a 5th, but it's going to be down here instead of up here where he was already kind of denied. You know, the Vulture has scouted this out at least, so he knows, okay, a 5th base is on the way. Bisu maxed out. Don't think he can attack. This has been good macro from NoeL. He actually, it's kind of funny how his units are set up. He should spread them and siege them. Because if Bisu were to attack in here and you're that clumped, if he gets a couple good Psystorms off, you don't know. Like, things can go wrong. Now, this is 162 supply Terran with only 56 SCVs, so he should be able to hold this. But there are those Psystorms I was talking about. I still think it goes NoeL. Yeah, he holds that pretty handedly. It's just like, it was a lot of supply. And the thing is, a lot of Protoss players feel like as you hit max, you should attack to reduce that siege tank count. Because you don't, you know, that's how Terrans win games, is getting a huge amount of siege tanks. But it felt like NoeL just had a few too many units for him there. Like, even out of position, it was tough. But at the same time, since you have the 5th base and you're getting it saturated, like 5 base Protoss can max like a lot of times. You know, your economy is very, very solid there. So as long as NoeL doesn't punish right now, I think Bisu's still completely fine. Even though that was kind of a poor attack. 4th base on location. He's still just on 6 fact, but going to add some more. 2-2 upgrades still coming. Oh, a little bit of a vulture drop. Yeah, it doesn't look like he'll get too much done. Bisu sending quite the army down to deal with this. Not a bad idea. It's hard to make drops do much at this point in the game against Protoss. Early on, they can be super strong. But, like, when your opponent is up on 70 probes and you kill a few, and, like, obviously, in theory, it should be good. But if you're doing this type of dropship play, you might be missing other opportunities for your speed. You know, like, for instance, setting up these missile turrets. Look at this defensive structure. This is amazing. This looks great. But, like, for instance, you know, he doesn't have turrets up here. Okay, he's getting them now. Sure. But you do have to, like, weigh that, right? Is killing a few probes there, causing a little bit of lost mine time there, going to be as important as, for instance, not letting this Reaver in? He didn't get it. He was trying to slow down the command center. Well, obviously, this particular time, the Reaver didn't do anything. And not every time you're going to eat damage for a drop like that. But I just wanted to kind of put that out there, right? Like, the prioritization of attention and what you're actually doing at a time, even though it's always good to do a drop and get damage, if that is at the cost of setting up your big late game macro, it might not be the right call, even if it gets damage. It can be, like, I think, a difficult concept when you're watching and kind of theory crafting, but yeah, StarCraft's a complicated game. Okay, so looking at NoeL here, he's got 3 add-ons, 8 factory total, right? 4, 8, yep, and going 4th add-on. The Madman. He's got a lot of gas, so, like, it's okay, I guess. But, like, if you're going to go 4 add-on Siege Tank, you need to scan basically nothing but for carrier. That's, like, the only thing that'll really go wrong if you can afford 4 factory add-on Siege Tank. Okay, so he is pushing down. Very, very strong push. Ooh, bombs in with the Storm Drop and gets him down to 39 SCVs. This is rough. Uses a defense matrix, just trying to clear this up as best he can. Really, he's got to probably focus on this push. That was super painful. The economy right now of NoeL is very, very weak, whereas Bisu is taking a 6th base location here. He's added a ton of gates down here, and now it's like he just needs to wear down this army. NoeL throwing down those defense matrices as well. This is actually reminding me a lot of that game that we saw him on Eclipse, if I'm recalling. And again, I think it was against Rain. But, like, it feels like he's playing such a good game. And I still have this feeling in the pit of my stomach that somehow these tanks are going to get cleared and he's going to be screwed. But a big drop onto these siege tanks here. No real Goliath presence there to stop those drops, unfortunately. Drops out a High Templar and deal a little bit more damage. It's really kind of about whittling this down as Bisu. Bisu's economy much, much better at the moment. But NoeL looking to change that, attacking down into 6 o'clock. Yeah, going after some of these probes. He has those science vessels in position. No energy for defense matrix as of right now. More and more shuttles coming out. You know, he does have that double robo production, double armories going as well. It's like 2-2 upgrades against 2-2 upgrades right now with 3-3 on the way for both sides. Really nice to see that from Protoss. And it looks like he will kill this base. So this is becoming very difficult for Bisu now. Because he's basically, like, look at this, right? This area is mostly NoeL's. There's not that much over here. He's mostly loading up into shuttles over here, and on this side getting ground army, and looks like he's going to go for a counterattack. So I kind of like that move. Like, there's definitely some big intelligence in trying to attack over here and get some damage done while you're taking damage. But unfortunately, it looks like the setup was still good enough for NoeL that he blocks it. Brings these tanks back. No base here. I think he was just checking. He didn't know for sure. And going to attack down into this base. NoeL is systematically deleting bases right now. But Bisu's still hurting the economy. Another Reaver drop gets in. He forces the SCVs out of that area, but doesn't look like he really kills very much. Another storm drop from the high ground. Again, he just needs to whittle this tank army down. But if he loses this base, Bisu's mining is super, super low. All right, brings back some more units for a bit of a flank. And look, he's almost got rid of all the tanks. All right, 5 tanks remain. NoeL at this point really needs to kind of reinforce. Bisu not with a whole lot left. Ooh, very nice drops here onto the tanks. Good defense matrix. Really, really good. Oh, wow. Really reasonable storms as well here. Good split from NoeL, keeping some of those units alive. Single siege tank driving back these goons. Looks like he missed that, but it looks like Bisu was maybe thinking of trying to expand to the top left. Not going to work out. NoeL's done a pretty good job of keeping that area under wraps for now. Trying to clear out this center area. Both sides very low on workers. Obviously, a situation like this should be favoring Terran a little bit, but, you know, with these shuttles coming in, if he deletes these tanks as well, and it looks like he's going to. Uh-oh. I think NoeL might be screwed now. It's going to be hard to hold on to these positions. This is such a great fighting composition against smaller armies. And since these armies are getting a bit smaller, you know, obviously that's going to help him out on that. I feel like he should come down and kill off these units, like, very, very importantly. Yeah, that is a good zealot drop off there. Drops on top of these tanks as well. So he will be able to kill off this army. Trying to run away is very low health Goliath there. It's like another Psy Storm drop up to that third base. Dude, only 46 SCVs. If he gets a lot of these, it's going to be so painful. Good run from NoeL. Really good escape. He still kills 6 or 7 there. But a very, very nice move from NoeL getting out. Bisu re-expanding. Does he have time to get those up? NoeL, I think, preparing for another attack. Oh my god. Brings him down to 30. Okay, well, now he's done so much economic damage. 30 SCVs is so incredibly low. I think he needs to attack. These types of positions are so hard to decide what to do. But with Bisu double expanding, I don't think there's going to be a better moment, because Bisu's economy is going to be just kick ass again very, very shortly. Whereas right this second, he's literally mining from one base. So if he's only mining from one base, if you can do a nice spread push really quickly, get into position, maybe kill this base king, kind of a similar move to what we saw before. Oh my god, just non-stop drops here. Anyways, I feel like that might be the best way to go about this. All right, Bisu here, just kind of waiting for the army to come forward. Has to be careful about how he attacks. That is a lot of siege tanks right now. Great defense matrix goes down. Good storm dodging overall, I'd say. Not a lot left for Bisu here. Don't forget, though, he's got a much better... Well, yeah, he has a much better economy, I guess. But this base, I don't think this base really gets up in mining. He's trying to send some probes over. That's a little bit optimistic. That's a little bit optimistic. But maybe that's what he needs, is NoeL to spread into trying to attack that. Unfortunately, he does get aggroed in and loses a few units there. Still just going for the counter drops. Storms mostly the missile turret, but also gets the tank. 22 SCVs remain. Lots and lots of High Templars. This is where you start seeing Archons in games like these. But against an army this size, Archons are not going to do much. I wonder if he's just going to try to storm everything. The thing is, he needs more muscle in his army. There is no EMP, at least. We haven't seen a single EMP this game, so I think he's just got Defense Matrix to work with. Oh, Dragoon only here, having the worst time ever against 3-3 siege tanks. I want to see those High Templars come into play. Oh, even picks off this single observer over on this side. Oh no, Bisu. Tough couple games here for our Protoss hero. All right, gonna try to drop out some of these High Templars for some storms, but yeah, he's got no actual muscle, unfortunately. I think that's it. Yeah, Bisu gonna have to GG. That was a well-played game from NoeL. It did feel like Bisu kind of lost control at the 5-base attack. I think it was probably right there. It was a little bit later than that, I guess. It was a weird game because of the early 6 factory push. So look, here's the maxed attack. The thing is, NoeL has so much supply. Now, what I had suggested was he should make 2 nexuses right at once. So he made this one, and then he waited a bit while he was maxing, and then he made this one. Okay? I do think that, well, this attack didn't go well for sure. I think you can't really argue that. But a lot of Protoss feel like you need to reduce the siege tank count. So in a way, I understand why he attacked. But I think the real missed opportunity was getting your production up in line with this attack, which I think could have occurred. So he held the 6 fact. He saw that this was being taken. And this is where, in my opinion, you just double Nexus. You know, you're playing here with Speed Shuttle Reaver, Zealot Legs, plenty of Dragoons. You're already on 3 base. Your opponent's on 6 factory, and he's very low on tanks because of the attack that failed here. He did save 4 tanks from the attack, which is actually quite nice. That's some good decision making. But yeah, only 6 tanks, and like you're making a new command center and you're trying to get your upgrades going. I just don't think you can punish the double expansion. And if you get the double expansion instead of a single here, right? And then you add the extra gateways, and then you do the attack, you remax a lot quicker. So he attacks there, yeah. Anyways, that's kind of my analysis of it. It was actually a very interesting game. I think a lot of hard decisions on both sides, so don't want to be like throwing too much shade. It's not like super obvious everything here. I like the way that I've described it, but I guess you can let me know if you would agree with me or you think that these were the right moves and the game's just imbalanced. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.